You want to sign a,
The state wanted it because of.
this is for him to be on the independent line.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Cristiano, Chairman of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. Tonight's meeting is a special meeting of the commission held at the City Hall Auditorium and also accessible through Zoom and on a phone link. Members of the public may view and listen in the meeting through YouTube Live. I call the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. Would everyone please rise or able for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Castro, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Cristiano.
Present.
Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Motto. Commissioner Harger. Here. Commissioner Ticky.
Present.
Commissioner Apple.
Here.
Commissioner McGee. Commissioner Bertola. Present. Myself, Alexandria Castro. Dominic DeGangi, professional engineer.
Present.
Ava Martino, land use assistant. Present. Nicole Guzman, administrative assistant. Present. Stephanie Charbonneau, stenographer. Stephanie.
She wrote in the chat that she is having an issue with her mic, but that she is present and can hear everyone.
Brianna Cole, recording secretary. Here. Kelly Lozano, administrative assistant. Here.
For the record, alternate Commissioner McGee is not here tonight. Alternate Commissioner Toller will be seated in lieu of Commissioner Motto. Okay, I'll begin. I would say before I begin tonight's meeting, just want to make a notation that the regular meeting scheduled for Wednesday, August 12th is canceled. In its place, the commission will hold two special meetings in August. The first special meeting will be held on Wednesday, August 5th at 4 p.m. That meeting will be held virtually and is being called specifically to address other business item taken up this evening, the housing regulations and the amendments necessary to bring our regulations into compliance with Connecticut Public Act 25-1. No applications will be heard at that meeting. The second special meeting will be held on Wednesday, August 19th at 6 p.m. And that meeting is set aside to review applications. Ms. Castro, would you please make sure that both special meetings are noticed and posted with the town clerk and that the Zoom and YouTube links are published for the August 5th virtual meeting also?
Will do.
Okay, thank you. So the first item on this evening's agenda is under other business, an introduction of BFJ's Planning Incorporated, known as BFJ Planning, regarding amendments to the Shelton Planning and Zoning Regulations for compliance with Connecticut Public Act 25-1. Their presentation will include an overview of the project scope, the anticipated timeline, and next steps. I'll now turn the floor over to Suzanne Goldberg from BFJ Planning. Will you please identify yourself for the record and proceed with your presentation?
Hi, everyone. My name is Suzanne Goldberg. Sorry to join virtually tonight, but hopefully I can meet you all in person soon. I'm a senior planner at BFJ Planning. I'm joined on my project team by Susan Fafati, who is a principal at BFJ Planning. A little bit about BFJ and the prior work we've done related to Public Doc 25-1. We recently completed a project with the town of New Canaan, bringing their zoning updates up to compliance with Public Act 25-1. We're currently doing the same in the town of Reading. So we're excited to bring our prior experience to the city of Shelton and help you all get up to speed with the new Public Act. So I will first go through the scope and timeline, and then I can give a brief overview of some of the key items we'll be looking at in terms of updating your zoning code. So obviously tonight is the first meeting, and we'll be doing an introduction. I plan to join the August 19th meeting, the special session, as you mentioned before. And at that meeting, we can continue to review some of the specifics of what aspects of the zoning code we're planning to update. We also are hoping to have another meeting with you all with the Planning and Zoning Commission in September, and then hopefully being able to adopt, pending obviously the amount of comments and the review periods that we need to ensure we have for public hearings, adopt sometime in the fall. So we wanted to go through the three main phases of our work plan. So the first phase, which is beginning now, is reviewing your existing zoning regulations, text and map. So this will really be happening July and into August. We will identify the sections of the zoning regulations text that need to be updated to comply with Public Act 25-1, specifically the items that went into effect on July 1st. 2026. These include items such as parking standards, definitions, commercial and mixed use districts, and zones where multifamily development is currently allowed. I'll go into what the specifics of the Public Act are in a minute. We'll also work with Ty and Bond to assess your zoning map in GIS for potential boundaries for the conservation and traffic mitigation zones, which are allowed under Public Act 25-1. I'll explain those in a minute. The second phase will be drafting the actual zoning text and map. We expect the bulk of this work to happen in the month of August. So in this phase, we will redline Word documents of all the relevant sections of the zoning text and prepare tables and revise zoning text for review by the Planning and Zoning Commission, legal counsel, and the public. We'll also work with Ty and Bond to draft zoning map changes, including the conservation and traffic mitigation districts, if the city chooses to adopt those. We will also have a public hearing where BFJ can provide an introductory presentation summarizing the changes that the city of Shelton will be making to bring their code into compliance, and meet with the Planning and Zoning Commission to debrief any public comments. And then the third phase, the final phase, which will happen in the early fall, will be the final zoning text and map. So after the public hearing and our discussions with you all, we'll create a revised version of the zoning text as well as the zoning map, both GIS files, Word files, as well as PDFs. And then we will prepare a resolution for the Planning and Zoning Commission adoption once you're in a position to do that. And then you can plan for potential adoption at a special session of the Planning and Zoning Commission or regularly scheduled meeting, depending on the timing in the early fall. In terms of the main issues that we plan to address as part of the zoning changes that went into effect on July 1st, 2026. So there's three key items. I'll just give a brief overview. We'll get into more details as we work with you, but just so you have a preview of what's to come. The first item is section 16 through 17 of Public Act 25, and it relates to middle housing. So zoning regulations in Connecticut are required to allow for the development of middle housing, meaning 2 to 9 units, or a mixed-use development on any lot that is zoned for commercial or mixed-use development, subject only to summary review. So that means that essentially any lot that you have right now that either allows commercial or mixed-use development, by law, you have to allow middle housing from 2 to 9 units in those zones. And the approvals process is what they call summary review. And this is a new term, but is pretty similar to site plan review. It essentially means that there can't be any discretionary zoning decisions that go into the approval of the middle housing up to 9 units. So it has to be approved in accordance with the terms of the zoning regulations, things like setbacks, lot size, building frontage, and the only decision that can be made is whether the plan is in conformance with applicable zoning regulations, and that the public health and safety will not be substantially impacted. So that's the first major change that relates to middle housing. Once again, the 2 to 9 units in any zone that currently allows commercial or mixed use development. The second main item relates to off-street parking requirements. So bear with me, there's a few terms here, so we can also describe these in greater detail if you have any questions. But so essentially, Public Act, oh, go ahead.
Do you have a question on that second paragraph when it says able to be approved in accordance with the terms of a zoning regulation and regulations, including but not limited to requirements concerning setbacks, lot size, and building frontage. So the zoning commission cannot put in any restrictions as to all that. Whatever is proposed for a particular application is what would have to be approved.
Yes, so essentially there cannot be any discretionary action. So the decision would be made whether or not it complies with the zoning regulations. You can also change those dimensional regulations, things like setbacks, if you wanted to, as part of the zoning update. But the only way that you would essentially be able to not allow the transit community or the middle housing is if it would substantially impact the public health and safety. That's the only basis in which you could deny it. Otherwise, it has to be approved if it conforms with the applicable zoning regs.
Okay, thank you.
So the next item regards to parking. So essentially, there are requirements on the number of off-street parking spaces that you can require. So if you have any development that is less than 16 units, you cannot require minimum parking spaces for the development unless you create what's called a conservation and traffic mitigation district. So a conservation and traffic mitigation district, you're allowed to have 2 within the city. And each one cannot take up more than 4% of the land area of the city. And essentially the point of those zones is that if you're located within those zones and you have a development that's less than 16 units, you can require a certain number of parking spaces. If you're not in that zone, you can't require parking for developments under 16 units. The maximum number of parking spaces that you can require across all residential developments, whether or not they're more or less than 16 units, would be 1 space for each studio or 1 bedroom unit, 2 spaces for each 2 or more bedroom unit, or the developer or property owner or applicant can submit a parking needs assessment where there's a specific outline of the requirements of what would go into a parking needs assessment in the Public Act. And if they come up with a number that's lower than the required number of off-street parking spaces, then you would have to allow that. So essentially the idea is that for developments that contain fewer than 16 dwelling units, if you're in a conservation and traffic mitigation district, you can require parking minimums, regardless of whether or not you're in a conservation and traffic mitigation district or not, though. There is a maximum amount of parking requirements that you can require throughout the city. So those are the main items relating to parking and middle housing. I know I probably just threw a lot of information at you, but does anyone have any initial questions?
So does any commissioners have any questions for BFJ? Keeping in mind that
You gotta pull your mic, please.
City? Do any commissioners have any questions for BFJ? General questions, I would assume, because again, the August fifth meeting will have time to ask specific questions. You can certainly ask anything you'd like tonight, but that meeting will be dedicated to ask specific questions.
Can I just add in before we go, Attorney McCoy joined us at 6:08 PM. Just in case.
Any questions for Ms. Goldberg? Okay, thank you, Ms. Goldberg. We'll see you or someone from your office on the fifth.
Yes, I will be there. I'm looking forward to working with you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda are applications for certificates of zoning compliance. There is one sign application. Sign 2620, the Chili Shack LLC, 480 Howe Avenue. Commissioner Mono's not here. Ms. Castro, I understand that the sign committee has met regarding the application listed on the agenda. Do you have that information, the recommendation of the sign subcommittee?
Recommendation was for a approval.
Okay. Is there any discussion regarding the recommendation of the sign subcommittee? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes 6-0. Moving on to old business. First is application 2615 Hidden Meadows Estates LLC.
Oh, we didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
We got two, quick one.
I don't care. Give it to Charlie.
And that was a 6-0 vote in favor. So again, I'm sorry, moving to old business. First is application 2615 Hidden Meadows Estates LLC for review bond recommendation. Stephen Bells for Hidden Meadows Estates LLC at 21 Jonathan Lane, Assessors Map 162, Lot 10, consisting of plus or minus 1.75 acres, and 0 Beardsley Road, Assessors Map 132, Lot 1, consisting of plus or minus 23.9 acres, for a re-subdivision to allow 13 residential single-family lots following the R1 zoning district requirements. This item is, again, was re-subdivision to allow the 13 residential single lots. Items before the commission this evening for the review of the bond recommendation. Mr. DeGangi, would you please summarize the bond recommendation contained in the project file?
Yes,
Did you pull your mic closer? I'm sorry.
yes, we have a standard form for creating the bond, which you have a copy of. And so you plug in the quantities that are shown on the drawing, and it calculates and adds a contingency. And then there is a listing of conditions that, the plan has to conform to the Connecticut guidelines for soil erosion sediment control. That everything has to be in place before the start of work as it relates to sediment, erosion sediment control. And everything needs to be maintained during the project. And that the zoning enforcement officer or the city engineer have the right to visit and inspect the site at any time. And if they don't fail to install the soil erosion and sediment control, that the city has the ability to do that as well. There's one change to the plan that I recommended, that instead of just silt fence, they back the silt fence up with hay bales because of the slopes on the property. And then there's a little bit of requirements on the actual bond. And that once everyone has inspected the work, they'll, come back to the commission for a release of the bond. Pretty standard format.
Thank you, sir.
Just a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Do any commissioners have any questions? Go ahead.
Question to Mr. DeGangi, you mentioned that the slopes are, some of them are a little more challenging than others on that property. Yet you have no money put aside for grading, restoration on the entire project. Don't you think that we should have something there?
The concept, according to the developer, is to build the road and not the houses.
Yeah, I understand that, but the length of the road is gonna require substantial grading. And yet you, in the bond, you have no hold for money there. I think we should put some money in that line.
The city engineer creates the bond for the road, which has already been established. That's through his office.
This,
Or only soil and erosion.
So is the soil and erosion not part of the road?
The city engineer establishes that bond. If you
Right.
want a copy, I can get that for you, but that's his area, not ours.
So there's two bonds.
There's two bonds.
All right, I'll leave it for now.
Okay,
It seems like you've got a big amount of area that's gonna be disturbed because of the grades in the property. And on this form, it says grading for site restoration provided safe and stable conditions, and yet we have no money there.
that's it.
We've got money for sedimentation and hay bales and topsoil, but we don't have anything for the actual grading. If you're gonna put the topsoil, you got 3,200 square yards of topsoil you're gonna move, but you're not gonna grade it.
The other bond was in the area of about 400,000 to cover
That's not my question.
those.
This is
The
grading.
The grading for building the road, including the shoulders, is in that bond.
I understand that.
This is only to guarantee that the topsoil goes in. Because the,
It says topsoil, seed, fertilizing and mulching,
right,
but it doesn't say you're gonna grade that
no,
to do anything, and yet there's a line on this form for that.
right.
I think we should have something in that line.
The intention for the grading there is for soil erosion, not construction.
I'm not asking for
So
construction.
what they're doing is building the road within the erosion control system.
I disagree with the amount.
Okay.
do any other commissioners have any questions regarding the bond recommendation for Mr. DeGangi? Any other questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the soil and road and sediment control bond for application 2615 Hidden Meadow Estates in the amount of $98,000 as recommended by staff.
I'll make that motion.
For a second,
Second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Passes 6-1.
5-1.
5-1.
5-1. I wrote 5-1.
I know you did, but your brain said 6.
Okay, next is application 2616. Retrovo Restaurant, accept withdrawal request. Okay, this is at 376 River Road, Assessors Map 80, Lot 162 for a 20 by 40 addition to be used for private events and additional restaurant space. The project file shows that the applicant has submitted a letter requesting withdrawal of this application. Mr. Castro, can you confirm that the applicant has requested this application be withdrawn at this time?
Yes, we received a withdrawal request on July 14th.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to accept the letter of withdrawal for application 2616.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 6-0. Next is the public hearing. First is application 2614 126 Howe Avenue, continuation of public hearing. Dominic Thomas or Kristen and Benjamin Perry at 126 Howe Avenue, Assessors Map 106B, Lot 16, consisting of plus or minus 0.76 acres for a zone change to establish a planned development district to allow 36 one and two bedroom residential units with on-site parking. Before we proceed, I want to advise the commission and the public that the commission has received a letter from the applicant requesting an extension of time of this public hearing. Ms. Castro, will you please confirm the receipt of that letter and note it as part of the record of this application?
Yes, the letter was received today. It's addressed to Chairman Cristiano. And the applicant is requesting a 36-day extension to be heard on the August 19th, 2026 meeting.
Because the application has requested an extension, we will not hear a presentation from the applicant this evening, and the commission will not take public comment on this application tonight. The public hearing will remain open and will be continued to a future meeting date. As indicated, it is intended to be for August 19th. At that time, the applicant will present. The members of the public will have the full opportunity to be heard. I will entertain a motion to accept the applicant's request for an extension of time and to continue the public hearing on application 2614 to the commission's meeting again on 8/19/26. Okay, Mr. Kelly is
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Again, just to be clear that public hearing for application 2614 will remain open and will be continued to the August 19th date. Members of the public wishing to address the commission on this application will have the opportunity to do so. Next is new business. The following applications have been submitted and are before the commission this evening for acceptance and setting of public hearing. The first is application 2618 English Estates, 19 English Lane, AJ Grasso for GTC Uno LLC at 119 English Lane, Assessors Map 76, Lot 16, Zone R1 for a subdivision to allow 4 single-family lots, with 2 lots being interior lots, to accept and set a hearing date. I will entertain a motion to accept 2618 and set a hearing date for a future date.
Before we do that, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I'd just like to check with the staff to make sure that, all of the necessary documents for an application of a subdivision have been filed by the applicant.
Yes,
Then I would move the acceptance and setting the hearing date.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We schedule for an upcoming meeting. Next is application 2619 Burns Family Estate at 0 Waverly Road. Christopher Pulaski for Kenneth and Elizabeth Burns at 0 Waverly Road. Assessors Map 44, Lot 61, zoned R1 for a subdivision to allow 3 single-family lots, except set and set a hearing date. I will entertain a motion to accept application 2619.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion subject to the confirmation by the staff that all of the documentation for subdivision has been submitted.
sorry.
All of the documentation for subdivision has been submitted.
Yes, it has. The applicant revised their plans. We received the revised plans on Friday based on their conversations with the city engineer. City engineer hasn't had a chance to review those yet, so this will go for the next one, but at this time, everything else has been received.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next is application 2620, PDD number 32, 4 Research Drive, Christopher Russo for 4 Research Drive Properties LLC at 4 Research Drive, Assessors Map 28, Lot 3 for a major modification to the PDD number 32 Statement of Uses and Standard Permitted Uses to allow medical and dental clinics. I'll entertain a motion to accept application 2620 and set a public hearing for a future meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
ask Attorney McCoy a question?
Yes,
Attorney McCoy, this is for a major modification, but it's just to allow a medical and dental clinic. So that doesn't seem to me like a major traffic generator or something. This is an established business office that's been there now for a while. Has numerous tenants, has very sufficient parking, so how would it go into that category for a major?
My understanding of how you guys have always done it is if it's a change, because it is a change, that's its own zone, right? The PD.
Yes,
So if it's not listed in there, it's been considered a major modification. I
okay,
think that, to be careful, that's probably the best way to do it.
okay,
I would agree with you. It doesn't seem like exactly a major modification, but
yeah,
I think the way, past conduct of the commission put that way.
okay, thank you.
okay. Next is application 262151 Blacks Hill Road. The final item under review here. This is Assessor's Map 105, Lot 12, located in an is it 1A1 zone? IA1, sorry. IA1 zone for a site plan application to construct 3 additional storage buildings under Schedule A permitted use line 52. I understand that additional information was requested for this application and is under review by staff. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to only accept application 2621 and to set a hearing for a future date.
So moved.
Second. They haven't submitted all their documentation?
They,
They submitted their documentation, we requested that for some edits.
additional information was requested.
So is it, to my question, is it a completed application then, if you're looking for more?
Completed application is what's required document wise to be submitted, but we asked for further information within the
that's-
document.
That's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The next is other business. We have an 824 referral for the purchase and sale of property located at 784 River Road. Within the file is a letter requesting a favorable referral from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Commission's approval of this 824 referral. Before I turn this over to Ms. Fasano for administrative assistant for the mayor. I'd like to indicate that the Board of Aldermen voted today contingent upon a favorable referral from planning and zoning that they're in favor of this. That was their vote today, is my understanding.
That's correct.
Okay, it's contingent upon our vote here.
Chairman, Commission, I'm requesting.
Sorry, excuse me, it's in my.
I'm requesting an 824 referral, favorable referral from the Planning and Zoning Commission. For the city to purchase the state tanker property located at 784 River Road. Per the Special Act 26-17, which was provided to you as an attachment in the amount of $350,000 plus administrative costs of conveyance. Subsequent to that, after we purchase that, we will then proceed to sell it to the existing tenant, which has been in the location of the property for quite some time. If you're familiar, it's the sports center of Family Sports Center of Connecticut. It's been a family entertainment center for over 27 years. They've been operating there. We would then sell that to that entity. Just a reminder, the property abuts the former landfill. And as such, the state is requiring that there is an easement that accompanies the property to continue to monitor, be able to monitor the monitoring wells there for any migration of any methane or pollutants from the landfill that was there.
Okay, does any commissioner have any questions for Ms. Fasano before we proceed?
basically, you're looking for two separate actions. One is an action to recommend the purchase of the parcel. from the state of Connecticut. And then the second action is a recommendation for the city to sell the parcel to the existing tenant.
Correct.
Do you want that as one motion? Do you want it as two motions? Do you wanna,
You could, I would suggest two motions within this.
or two sentences within one motion?
You could do that. You can
Okay.
move to, favorably refer it on the purchase as well as on the sale.
It's probably the easiest for
Yes.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, no other questions? Entertain motions to proceed, first on the purchase.
I can do it as one.
Sure.
One, okay.
Go ahead.
So I move that the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission report favorably on an 824 referral for the property located at 784 River Road that is currently owned by the state of Connecticut, and that the city of Shelton be recommended to purchase this property. In addition, I would recommend that the city of Shelton then be recommended to sell this property to the existing tenant at 784 River Road for their continued use, subject to the easements that the state has on the parcel currently.
And I will second his recommendation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion as indicated by Commissioner Oppo passes 6-0.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Next is minutes for approval. The June 10th, 2026 minutes. Does any commissioner have any comments or corrections to these minutes? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th, 2026 as submitted.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. I have no additional comments. I made them earlier in regards to the presentation this morning, so I have no additional comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just wanted to comment that a week ago yesterday, the quarterly meeting of the Shelton Economic Development Corporation was held. I was in attendance with, other members of that particular, corporation. And we had a bus tour, started from the farmer's market downtown, went up to Sinsville Heights. The mayor was present. And he was the one that presented the comments. He pointed out where this portion of the property, the slopey area where the housing authority would be coming in for additional units there that we had actually approved 10 years ago, but that still was stalled. Then we went down to Constitution Boulevard extension. Spent a number of minutes there, and then they pointed out several aspects of the road being put in. And then we ended up going down Canal Street to the Cedar Village at the locks, and the mayor pointed out some things there. So it was about a good hour that we were around different aspects. And there were a number of businessmen who were members of the corporation that were in attendance. So it was very well received, and I think if you had it, there was an article because Brian Gialli from the Hearst papers was present and he did a story about it.
Thank you.
Especially about the Constitution Boulevard.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. Good information, good to update the community on the progress. Ms. Castro, do you have any comments?
No.
Mr. DeGangi, any additional comments? Okay. Thank you. That's all the information we have. It's everything covered on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay, well, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'll call this motion to adjourn at 6:40 PM.